Everyone, here is a short video to show you how to use the electronic tech log, which we'll be going live with fairly soon. We're logged in here as a student pilot, a mythical made-up student pilot, Jerry Student. Normally a student would be limited to what they can do. They're not going to be allowed to sign a tech log or authorise their own flights or anything along those lines. However, for the purposes of the exercise, I've given the student, Jerry Student, the privileges to do that. So what you're seeing is exactly the same as you would see as an ordinary member with a license. So this is where you log on as normal, and obviously you've got the usual stuff here which checks on your dates and expiries and so on and so forth. We'll ignore the fact that his FCP rating has expired for now. That's not the purpose of this. So what you'll see once we go live with the tech logs is you'll now get this extra tech log menu item at the top. If you click on that, and then choose the aeroplane you're going to fly. So in this example, we're going to choose Alpha Alpha, and basically the date here will be whatever day you're actually doing this. So I'm doing this on the 31st of December, and that's what it shows. There weren't any flights on Alpha Alpha today, so for the purposes of this exercise only, I'm going to pretend it's the 2nd of December when I know there were flights to do. But normally, as I said, you wouldn't have to touch that, and you're just going flying. You don't have to worry about any of the other stuff down here. You just hit Add New. And up comes basically the information on the airplane you're about to fly. So it tells you it's Alpha Alpha, and there's checks, a mandatory A check is due because it hasn't had an A check today. It tells you when the maintenance is due, how many hours, or how many days to run, and we have the list of deferred defects. This again is just made up at the moment for the exercise, but any defects that haven't been cleared, so you can see straight away the state of the airplane. Off you go, you do your walk round. When you're happy, you're ready, you're happy to fly the airplane, you've done your A check, you come back and you sign it electronically by using your login password. So I can sign that, confirm, and the tech log is now essentially, the A check is complete. So that's the once only per day. If the airplane has already flown, you won't have to do that. You will come straight to this page. So it's telling you that you're the captain. If you need to be authorized, you can choose an instructor to authorize you, but in this case, that doesn't have to be the case. You need to say what you're doing. So you're hiring the airplane. Quick information about what you're going to do, so you could just say it's a local flight, or you might want to say where you're going to. The intended duration is 1 hour. At the moment, this may change. We may add or take away stuff, but we'd quite like to know how much fuel you think you've got when you depart. So you could put in, say, 20 US gallons or whatever it is. And if you had to put any oil in, then that's a good idea for us to keep a record of that. This box here about maintenance flight only applies for, as it says, maintenance flights, not ones where you're hiring the aircraft, so you would never tick that. And you accept the aircraft, again, electronically by using your sign-in password, and this flight doesn't have to be authorized, so you don't need to put anything in there. And you click on Save, ignore that. And it will come up with basically the tech logs for that day. So there's already one that has been flown that day, but the one we're looking at is the second one down here, where you can see on the second line, it's got all that information that you would have put in on the paper tech log if you had done the old-fashioned paper tech log. So up the top is a summary about your A check, that's who's done that. As a summary about the airframe hours, stuff on terms of how long to go before it needs to go into maintenance, and other inspection details are due. So all of that is stuff that you would normally have seen in the paper tech log. And that's it for the moment. Off you go, and you go flying. So when you come back, you'll need to log on again. You won't be on that page. So back to here, we come back to tech log, we choose the aircraft again, and now we can go to updating tech logs. So again, this would normally just be the date. We choose the second, and we go to update. And that basically gets you back to that page we had a few minutes ago. Now this was the one that you were flying. It's the incomplete tech log where the times and so forth have not come in. So you press on that plus button, And now you get essentially the after flight part to complete it. Now, because the flights are logged automatically, you have to choose the flight you did. There were 3 flights today that were done by this aircraft. One of them has already been used, if you like, on that previous tech log that was shown, meaning that you've got to make a choice of the 2 remaining. Now, normally, because the tech log would be done each time after the aircraft's flown, you're very unlikely to see more than one of these. If you do see more than one, it's probably because you've landed away and come back. So it might be one of 2 legs to Sleip, say, and then from Sleip back again. So you won't have a big choice to make, and you'll know what times you did anyway, roughly. So you can go, oh yeah, that was a flight I did between 13:02 and 14:20. So you click on that one. Now you can put any remarks in. So anything that needs to be spoken about. Defects we'll come back to later on in a second. This is not particularly defects, but if you've had issues or any remarks you want to make on that front, you can do that. And also you can put in the number of landings if we want to record that. So you may have done circuits and done 5 landings, say. And the post-flight sign-off, much like the beginning, you tick it and say, I accept and confirms pilot and command the information stated above is correct. And once again, you use your login password, and then you can basically save and go to the tech log, or save and go to the training record. The training record would be for students, for instructors rather, to carry on with the student training record, or for students to see their own record. But if you're just hiring the aircraft, you just save and go back to the tech log. And when it works its way through, I'm not going to do that. Now we can see both the flights that have happened today. They've both been logged. The newest one is shown at the top, and all the details and so forth are in there, just as they would have been on the paper tech log. And that's it. So you've done basically the necessary completion of the tech log A check at the start if it was the first flight of the day. In terms of defects on this section here, aircraft, you've got aircraft defects, and you can look at the aeroplane that you want out of the ones, choose the ones we've got, alpha, and then you can enter a defect if you found one. It's categorized either as minor, be aware of it, or serious. Type the details in, whatever it might be, flat tire, and save it, and it will get added onto these ones here, and the engineers actually get an email straight away when you put that in. Obviously, it's wise to speak to an instructor or someone first before you go and commit to putting something in and grounding the aircraft, and just making sure what the implications are and whether it is a serious problem or not. But essentially, that's how you put a defect in. And that's it. So hopefully everyone will manage happily with that, and it will enable us to keep better records. And because you are associated with that specific flight, it will keep a record of when you last flew each aircraft type. So that data on your own personal record of when you last flew will then start to become valid once you start to use this eTech log system. That's it. As always, any questions, someone can either email or give me a call.